If you
On this edition of Channel 8's Eye on Ashland News. Did you ever wonder what it's like to be inside a burning building? We'll take you on scene to a training drill with the Sherburne Fire Department and Ashland Fire Department. Don Colbert with this week's Police Beat, and John Stefanini with State House Update. Next on Eye on Ashland News. On March 25th, the Sherburne Fire Department, along with the Ashland Fire Department, watched this house burn completely to the ground. In fact, they're the ones who set the blaze. The fire was the conclusion of 2 months of extensive training. Douglas Bryan, the owner of the house who lived there for nearly 20 years, donated to the towns. This was a rare opportunity for the men and women of the fire department to experience a real fire under controlled conditions.
Safety is going to be absolutely everything. A lot of people have done a lot of planning here to try and make this as safe as possible for you all. There'll be a lot of support people. For only 3 people in the building at a time, you'll have 10 or 15 people just watching out for your well-being. It is paramount that you follow all of the things that we went through in our safety briefings and the orientations that we've had. Fortunately, everybody's been through this building already, so you know what it looks like. There will not be any surprises here today. Nobody's going to try and have some surprise part of this element. It's going to be very straightforward. Three-person attack team to interior attack on a room and contents fire.
A team of firefighters is placed inside the house. They will get an eyewitness view of all phases of the fire.
One of the things that I want to stress to you, number one, it's okay to be afraid. I'm afraid every time that's healthy. Number two, if you're uncomfortable with something, if you're uncomfortable with the mask, if you're uncomfortable with something that's going on, don't be afraid to sing out.
A team of firefighters fully armed with breathing apparatus and hoses waits outside for the drill to begin.
We're going to say that this is the recipient going into the pre-burning, okay? All right. What I want you to watch is up here. Okay? You'll see it start. You see the way that fire fans out at the top? Following the path of least resistance. We talked the other night about mushrooming. That's the start of it up there. Okay? Anyway, you can start to see the layer starting to build down. Okay? You'll see the difference. You can see the difference now, right?
Look around the room, yeah. That's what they talk about, stay low.
There's a huge difference. Now, if we had any type of fire that had been going with a tremendous amount of heat, along with the smoke up here is going to be where all the heat is.
Yeah, fill the whole house, the fire's gonna be up before you get it.
All right, you guys see the difference? Yeah. A huge difference, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, go for the...
That's why you want to be
Yeah, they're gonna have that.
down low. Well, we'll get some more hay.
You want a tool or? No, punch plate.
Okay, can you guys, with the camera, can you see the difference? Can you see the smoke flare? Okay? All right, why don't you people start an orderly exit out of the building, okay?
The back door. Eric,
The back door. Stay low. Don't take your time, ladies. Let's go.
Okay, team one.
What we did was basic one-room fires. To try to explain, some of the people that are in there have never been into fires before on both departments, both the Ashland department and the Sherburne department. So we put those people in self-contained breathing apparatus. They have to go in, find the fire, and do what's called an indirect attack. They squirt the water in a fog pattern at the ceiling, and what that does, all the heat is at the ceiling, so it cools it down quick, brings all the smoke down to the floor, smothers out the fire. Then they just trickle a little bit of water. The idea is to minimize the water damage in there. The nozzle man calls for ventilation. They open the windows. Then you saw him sticking the hose through the window and squirting. And the idea, if they put the hose in a fog pattern, is to make pressure and pull all the smoke out from within the building.
So you see the difference when he pulled that nozzle back? Puts it out to a fog. And what you're doing when you put it out to the fog and you're flowing water is it creates a draft behind you. It wants to follow the water. So put it to that fog. That's about a 30-degree fog pattern. Extend the nozzle out, let it charge, and then pull it back. And what will happen is you pull it back to the point that that draft has got that window completely sealed. Not the water, but the draft. And it pulls the smoke, choom, right out with you. And it's called power venting. Works out real well.
Now, what is involved in trying to get all this together and making it go smoothly?
Oh, there's an awful lot. You have to get DEP approval. You have to remove any asbestos from any pipes that are in the building, make sure that the building doesn't have any hazardous materials in it, remove the heating system. In some cases, they make you remove the roof shingles. In this case, they didn't, apparently because it's burning season now and the smoke could be carried away and won't affect the environment at all. You have to get all kinds of permission like that. Then there's a lot of coordination and planning that goes into doing it. We want to make sure that everything is done safely, nobody gets hurt.
How often do you get the opportunity to burn down a real structure?
It doesn't happen very often. It's been very good of Sherburne to invite our fire department over so we can have cooperative maneuvers. It helps us when we have a mutual aid situation where there really is fire. The people are familiar with each other, and we make sure that our equipment is compatible.
How do you think the teams are doing so far with this procedure?
Well, so far things have gone wrong, but that's the idea of doing it during training. Overall, they've been very good, and we expected to have some mistakes made, and it's really worked out well.
So is this what you consider the best kind of training overall that they can ever get?
Absolutely. Hands-on training, when if there's a problem you can withdraw and then have another crew. You always have that stuff ready for a backup, or if there's a live fire situation, you don't usually have that initially. You have to wait and build up to that point when you have manpower and equipment there. Everything's laid out right now and we're ready for that.
What are the plans for the rest of the day?
What we're going to do is we're going to do 2 hose evolutions, have a fire on the first floor, one hose crew go in and extinguish that fire, another hose crew go into the second floor and extinguish the fire there, maybe do some search and rescue while they're doing that. When they light the fire, I think that you had a camera inside there. The fire, you see that the heat and smoke go to the top of the ceiling. In a regular building fire, when it's kind of closed up, the windows are closed and stuff, it can get up to 1,200, 1,500 degrees up at the ceiling level. And that's why when I said you put the fog pattern on the hose, you squirt it toward the ceiling, it turns the steam, cools that down, and everything drops down. But it does get quite hot up there.
Dave Lang, a 20-year veteran of the fire department, knows just what it's like to enter a burning building.
If we have a fully involved smoke room, all we would basically do is follow the smoke until we can't go any farther, and then if we're in the room where the fire is, we'll see an orange glow where the seat of the fire is, and we'll try attacking it at that point.
By mid-afternoon, firefighters had completed over 4 hours of grueling practice drills. After 2 months of extensive training, firefighters prepared to light the house on fire one last time. Only this time, they would not try to extinguish the flames.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Colbert from the Ashland Police Department, bringing you the news update of the past week. On Thursday, March 23rd, approximately 11:45 p.m., there was a one-car motor vehicle accident on Waverly Street. The vehicle took down a Boston Edison pole and caused a considerable traffic tie-up on Route 135 throughout the next day. The operator of the vehicle was taken to the Framingham Union Hospital and was charged with motor vehicle violations. On Friday, March 24th at 11:43 a.m., the Ashland Police received a radio dispatch from the Framingham detectives calling for an assistance in the area of Fountain Street and Riverview Drive in the wooded area off the road. This was in regards to a prostitute being placed under arrest. On Monday, March 27th at 5:03 p.m., Officer Wheeler arrested a Matthew Bozzeri of Framingham after a foot chase down Route 126. Mr. Bozzeri was charged with shoplifting from the market basket. On Tuesday, March 28th at 5:37 p.m., Officer Testa arrested Charles McClintock of Framingham for operating after revocation of his license and other motor vehicle charges. On Wednesday, March 29th, at 9:50 p.m., Officer Blass arrested Kimberly Souza of Ashland and charged her with domestic assault and battery. The Ashland police this week responded to 9 burglar alarms and responded to 5 motor vehicle accidents. And that's the news update for the past week. Thank you.
Hello, this is State Representative John Stefanini. This week at the State House, State Representative Thomas Finneran, chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, released his $16.2 billion budget for the next fiscal year. The budget included proposals to increase funding for local aid, to maintain ed reform funding committed to by the legislature, and funding for water and sewer rate relief for MWRA ratepayers. The budget was met with caution and restraint by the Senate Budget Committee and the governor's chief administration and finance officials. Caution and restraint were the catchwords because of concern at an agreement last week that revenues would only increase this year by 3%, with most of those increases going to fixed costs. Also in news at the State House this week, before the Healthcare Committee was released a study by Professor Alan Sager that indicated that 12% of the population of our Commonwealth are uninsured or underinsured. That's health insurance. This is a doubling from 1987, an increase of 91%, or from 368,000 residents to 703,000 residents. The increase was credited in large part to a decline in jobs, in particular jobs that have health benefits. The study's release was designed to coincide with a proposal to change our healthcare system to a single-payer system, or similar to the Canadian model. Proponents argued that it would reduce our 28-cent per dollar cost of administration to 10 cents, with that money funneled into our healthcare system to improve costs, while maintaining choice of doctors, facilities, and improving services. It was also designed to eliminate pre-existing conditions and to allow for portability of health insurance. I'll keep you posted on changes to our health system and the budget as it goes through the process. The debate on the budget is scheduled for next week, whereas the health package is not scheduled to come before the House and Senate until sometime in September. Also of interest to local bike enthusiasts this week, Representative Ann Paulson of Belmont sponsored a resolution in the House to declare the week of May 14 to May 20 Bike to Work Week. This was done to commemorate bicycles as clean, efficient forms of transportation to and from work. People that are interested in knowing more about that can contact my office, and I'd be glad to fill them in on that. Of local interest, the Mass Cultural Council awarded the town of Ashland with 7 grants this week, totaling $3,486. The 7 grants include a grant to Ashland High School to perform Anne Frank, and a grant to perform a free brass concert in Ashland. This is John Stefanini reporting to you for Eye on Ashland News.